This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B, and joining me once again are my good-looking partners in crime, Kenny Boucher and Stephen Four. What's up, guys?
It's been so long since I've seen Juice, I almost forgot he was a part of the show.
What's happening?
No doubt.
And I only say that because I spend on average about 8 hours a week looking at his face via editing. And then when I don't get that extra hour one-on-one time, and then that podcast, like I feel like I didn't even see him. So it's not like I didn't see him. I looked at him pour for hours.
Yeah. He has every one of my facial features down to a science.
Yep.
Well, that's like our buddy Felix. He's like, man, I never met Kenny. And I was like, well, Kenny has like 8 hours of video of you.
I know everything about you, Felix.
And then like all the little love whispers we give when we're
those are my favorite when you guys are whispering like the mic can't pick you up and I'm
like, what are you guys doing? Why are you whispering? Kenny can hear you.
Yeah. It feels weird to me if Robbie B's trying to do his thing, so I have to start talking like this.
Oh yeah. When I'm going inside getting the B-roll on stuff.
And Rob's like, I can pick you up, but the mic doesn't hear me. and then Rob's first chain reaction every time is like, Kenny can hear you. Hey Kenny, how are you?
Yep, I've dozens of those that I've had to edit through.
It's so true. It's so true.
Like, dozens of Juice rolling his dice and then whispering to his dice, but like he's actually just like reciting a grocery list.
Yeah,
it's not even like, oh, somebody better call my mama.
Yeah, I needs this. Well, people aren't whispering. Our Clay Cruz, he's saying what's going on. Ash Hill checking in. Steve Bruley saying that there is 19 inches of rain in less than 48 hours.
Steve Bruley must be living in South Carolina.
Yep, he is. Him and his crew are all from South Carolina. Steve, big shout out, man. Yeah, hope everybody's good. Keep us posted on all that. Sal checking in. Emperor's checking in, building 4 Annihilation barges for his new list. I like it.
Emperor's Canaries? Who's that?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see you.
Steve C. Bruley obviously is painting bloodletters. I couldn't imagine you painting anything else.
Obviously.
It's either bloodletters, Scarbrain, or Demon Princess. Lamont checking in. What's going on, Pimp? How's that little one doing for you? Black Tower Terrain also.
No doubt. Man, we got... My mind is literally on fire today. I have so much to say about so much, but first, we got the Ghost Keel. The rules came out for that thing, and then today we saw that it's got the little like puppy inside, the little towel compartment with the little pilot. And I thought that was kind of neat. What do you guys think about the rules for it?
I haven't. Yeah, as usual, I stay out of the whole rules thing so that when I ask you questions on the webcast and the podcast, they are genuine and unrehearsed. So please.
Okay.
What is a ghost keel? I don't even.
Let me pull up the exact rules.
I'll break it down for you. This is a ghost keel. He is a 135-point Carnifex. That's basically what he is. Like, let's not get it twisted. Like, he sounds cool and everything else. And furthermore, he's crappier because he only is toughness 5. So he's weapon skill 2, bliss skill 3, strength 6, toughness 5. So he's getting ID'd out by strength 10. 4 wounds, initiative 2, 3 attacks, leadership 10. And he doesn't have that Riptide save you 2-up save. He's got a 3-up save.
He sounds like the world's best Dreadnought, though.
Yep, true.
He is the world's best Dreadnought.
See, GW, still, they're getting closer. They're listening. Just hire us. We will. So here's the mistake with this guy's profile. Toughness. He should have been toughness 6 or 7 for one.
Got to.
For 130, like if you're going to make a Dreadnought, 4 wounds, 3+ armor save, he needs to be toughness 6 or 7. If he's toughness 5, he needed to be 100 points even.
Yeah, 100%. He's also got some cool benefits built in. It's like the stealth field that, depending on how many drones that you have with it, because you can have a unit of 1 to 3, just like Carnifex is another, and Talos paint engines and stuff like that. That's all I can imagine when I hear this guy and like his stat lines. But the cool thing is he can have some built-in stealth and shroud. So if there's only 1, he gets stealth. If you have 2 guys within the unit or that have these drones, you get shroud. There's nothing else for having 3. So I mean, you get some built-in covers.
Shroud is good. That's interesting. And that's actually fun because that gives me some hope for GW. We talk about it all the time. They always get the points wrong on toughness versus armor.
Mm-hmm.
So they always forget that toughness should matter. But this is the first time I've heard of something not being truly good. But the fact that you can take 2 and they have Shroud, is that what you're saying? Yeah. That's actually really good for like that's really hard to interact with. So GW might finally being like who in the codexes in the future. I would love to see some more toughness based multi-war models. You know, like a Mauler Fiend, for example, in Chaos. Like it's already demon and machine. Like if they made a Mauler Fiend toughness 6, you know, with 3+ armor save, it would be infinitely better than it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if you look at the progression too, they are getting better because you go from the Carnifex to the Talos Pain Engine to this guy. So
it's so funny. Everyone always forgets how good the Dread Knight is. Here's a great argument, Juice. The Nemesis Dread Knight is a 135 base too.
Infinity times.
I know which one I was.
Has a 2-up armor save, an invulnerable save that it can turn into a 4-up invulnerable with a psychic power all by itself.
Yeah, and baseline he's got 2-up, 4-up.
Like everyone,
or 2-up, 5-up.
2-up, 5-up with Sanctuary, so it can be a 4-up. So basically GW like accidentally made the best Dreadnought ever right there, and then like everyone, but then you know stop making them. So like but there's hope. You can see that they're thinking about these things and. Maybe the future holds some exciting things for us. Does this guy move 6 inches though?
Yeah, he's a jetpack monstrous creature. So
yes, he moves 6 inches, and then he has jetpack. So that means in the assault phase he can
2d6. But I think what they're banking on the magic mechanic here is that you have to snapfire to shoot him if he deploys his like super special rule thing. And I don't know.
Wait. What do you mean? He can deploy in such a way that you need to snapfire against him?
No, so he has this thing called, countermeasures. So once per battle in the enemy shooting phase, a model equipped with the countermeasures can disrupt the targeting systems. So basically you say this is happening, and then the enemy unit can only make snapshots against it.
That is amazing. Why'd you leave that out until now? That actually makes him really...
Right, like, he's hard to kill, and he can kind of... I think he's designed to kind of stalk around and get these fire angles on things, and he's not going to get alpha striked, obviously, because snapfire, unless you have overwhelming firepower. You can have squads of 3, but I feel like his job is to like kind of stalk around and get these angles on Death Stars while the Storm Surgers are locking in, getting ready to receive. You know, blasting stuff with the double shots at D. Now he has some saucy weapons, I feel like.
Yeah, what are his weapons? I was asking, can he actually hurt things? Like a Carnifex has a lot of strength 6 shots. Does this guy have something like that?
So he's got the Fusion Collider that's strength 8, AP 1, assault 1, blast, Melta.
Okay, so that's decent.
It's a straight shot. He's got the Cyclic Ion Blaster, which I guess got a major upgrade. So standard shot at 24, strength 8, AP 4, assault 6, right?
So he has 6 strength 8 shots.
Strength 6, strength 7. At strength 8, he can overcharge it. It becomes heavy 1, large blast, gets hot, AP 4. So
that's very acceptably decent firepower.
It's respectable. But again, like Juice was saying,
So my thing is he's gonna deploy these charges like, I mean, dog, if I'm playing a Tau army, I'm not looking at this strength 8 AP1 Melta shot or this 6 strength 7 AP4 shots, and I'm like, yo, damn, I can't believe he deployed those charges. Fuck, I can't shoot him now. You know, like, I feel like most Tau players anyway, and he's not that good. That flush set charges would be amazing if it was on a close combat guy.
Can he deep strike or anything like that?
Hold up 1 second. So he comes with multi-trackers. Wait, what? Comes equipped with multi-trackers and black sun filters. I don't know why they gave him multi-trackers because he's a monstrous creature.
And he can do... Does multi-trackers allow you to shoot at 2 different targets or shoot 2 weapons?
It was shoot 2 weapons, but now
it lets you shoot an additional weapon, so he can shoot 3 weapons.
I guess he does have 3 weapons, so
that's why, because monstrous creatures can only shoot 2.
So on the carapace or backpack, you can go Twin Link Burst Cannon or Fusion Blaster or Twin Link Flamer, which it's tactful.
Let me ask you this: what's his battlefield role?
He is a elite. It looks like. Yeah, elite. I think that's
like
the elite
if
symbol.
There's like let me tell you this. So if in the new Tau Codex that there's like an amazing Ducarion detachment, And one of the required detachments in your auxiliary department is something that's like 1 to 3 of these guys. He'll be bomb at that, like amazing.
Yeah.
Because he will fill out the thing you need to, and like literally one of these guys just in the cut is actually really hard to deal with in the late game if he can move around and just have stealth and just they have 3 up cover, say, let me just spit these shots at these 5 space marines, right? Then I'm gonna move over here, and now you're finally gonna try to deal with him on turn 5, and he's like, by the way, you snap fire at me, and I have 1 wound left. Sorry, like you can't get to me. Like he has a place if he's he can definitely set an objective in the late game. He can move deceptively faster than people think he can because he goes 6.
He's like a drone.
Yeah, he goes 6 inches. He goes 6 inches, ignores terrain, and it goes 2d6. And he's really fast. I actually kind of like him for his, but I like the rules. It's spicier than I've ever seen a Tau rule be. Like if I take 2 of them, I have Shroud. One of them has Stealth. I can pick any turn of the game to have Snapfire. Like I like these. These are way more innovative than Tau has.
Yeah, then just hey, by the way, everything ignores cover.
Like, yeah, no, for sure.
I like this, and I would love, and he will be. I can't see of a role for him in the current Tau Codex, but if the new Codex comes out and it has some amazing formations and there's some amazing detachment, I can see him having a role if he's one of the auxiliaries required for their best detachment.
Yeah, I guess that's a nice caveat that you threw on there. Is like because that's exactly what a lot of things are doing. It's like it's making you the Adeptus. Oh, excuse me, the Secretari is the one of them that's making me think out the most. It's like you have to take one of these like crab walker things from like Dune that shoots air targets. Well, to be honest, if you look at it, you're like, man, this thing sucks, but this is your tax, then fine. Wow. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it's not bad on the 100.
It's a great tax. It's an amazing tax if it becomes a tax.
Yep. I like how you put that there.
So our buddy Fallen Cipher sent me a little list he put together, which I thought was kind of I thought it was kind of spicy, so I want to read it. So 3 Riptides, the Forge World version. I think it's the Rivera. I want to say we'll just go with that. And the Fast Attack version, I think it is a Rivera. 1 Riptide normal from the Codex, 4 Ghost Keels, and 1 Storm Surge at 1850, and then like 2 squads of Fire Warriors.
Just all big guys. I like it.
Yeah. So like. Remember 2011 when we won the Adepticon Team Tournament, we all got a Grey Knight army that was basically like a couple boxes of Grey Knight Terminators, So it's like is that what they're doing with this? Like they're trying to make the Tau like you just buy the new big guys and boom, you have an army. Like
I love it.
I kind of like it because you know what? When I saw that model,
it's so much more thematic than it has been in the past because Tau is all about these suits, right? And that's kind of something that's not so like things that everyone knows about 40K does not include that. Like that has not been driven home hard enough as far as like fluff goes. But now like in more literature, the more you interpret, like the more their technology advances as this young empire, you realize that it's all about their advanced robotics system, So to me, it should be very minimum troops, and it should be maximum big guys. Like, why would how could you possibly go to war against some of these alien races out there and not just figure out like all the way down to 2 wound like crisis suits or like Terminator suits? You know what I mean? Like literally, they shouldn't even have Fire Warriors anymore. Like in the 41st millennium. Like
and that's a great point because like think about it, they are stupid little puny fish heads.
The Great Man, they're ETs.
So like if that's what it is, like obviously they're so freaking intelligent. Like obviously they're like, yo, we can't go to war with just you and I, but guess what? I will go to war with this big suit. I'm gonna get in.
Son. We're gonna deploy our mercenaries to fist fight you, stupid. And I'm gonna get into my Gundam wing battlesuit, and I'm gonna hit you with a burning fist attack.
Yeah. Obviously, like, and furthermore, I don't need to like kaiju 2 twin aliens together, Eldar together to run a Wraith Knight. I can just mass produce these Riptides.
Yo, how are you supposed to run 3 arms if you don't have 2 dudes in a suit? Come on.
Yo, right? Like, so I mean, it's like, come on. So yes, you got missiles on missiles on missiles. A standard Fire War can do that. You wonder why the whole Tau army only has Ballistic Skill 3 is because all their technology is just built into the suit. They're just run by little, you know what I mean? Like little nobodies,
I got you. Yeah, it's all about that laser dot, right?
Yeah.
Wait, maybe they're cats.
I like where your head's at.
Little cats chasing a laser pointer around.
Now you know how to be Tau.
Well, clearly I need to play Tau then. But man, I tell you what, when I logged in or when I got on the internet this morning and I saw that picture of that ghost keel with the little pilot inside, like I was like, man, this is like the coolest thing ever. Like I was trying to fight the like G-dub chip going off in my head, like that I had to play it. It's like it's so good. I want it.
Oh my goodness! So I had a pretty busy day today, guys. I wanted to tell you guys about it since we are officially by record 7 days away from the launch date of our Kickstarter. So that's the Long War Kickstarter. We are still in the planning phases. We got most of it done.
We got a lot more. We got a lot done, but we're not a Jedi yet. It's
a lot of managing a lot of elements together because we're not a manufacturing company, so like swag has to be sourced out between multiple venues and stuff. So I did have a good meeting today with a good guy down in Raleigh. He works for all the colleges down here doing swag. So I was able to find some cool stuff. Like I was able to find a guy who does whiskey glasses, lanyards and keychains, sports bags that like the kind that Juice is always walking around with. So we have a lot of amazing stretch goals that we're planning out for this Kickstarter because I guess it's poor planning to not anticipate stretch goals and not be ready for those.
Right.
But we do have the rewards figured out. We have everything that everyone wants, all the swag everyone wants. We've got the T-shirts. We got the dice. We've got the templates. We've got the objective markers. We've got a new thing coming in. We got a game mat.
Yeah, I also had some meetings today, and I'll talk about that here shortly.
We have the tools. Like we're trying to offer a lot of individual swag that people have been asking for, and then also offer the bundles to give you guys discounts on all those items, just so they can all in one click, and then multiple versions of the bundle, which would be maybe like themed Star Wars or themed 40K, et cetera, et cetera. We have new designs like the T-shirts and everything are looking fresh, but actually the guy I found is going to be silk screening our shirts, so it's going to be way more quality than the shirts you've been seeing in the videos and stuff like that. Like they're going to be resistant to 100 washes. You're going to be able to take them anywhere. They're going to go infinity, not some of this digital printed stuff that's been the norm online these days.
Wait, are we supposed to wash our shirts?
You are supposed to wash your shirts at least once a month. That's what I've heard.
Okay, so that'll last me like infinity, like 5 years.
Yeah, if you buy 5 shirts, you're good. Like you don't even need to wash them. But we have the stuff, and so it's going to be the next week, like from this moment on, like it's going to be a lot of us getting people ready to click on the Long War Kickstarter because, as everyone knows, the most successful Kickstarters kind of hit their goal in the first few days.
Well,
continue.
Well, I think that's what's cool about what we got. We've already sourced a bunch of material. We have a bunch in hand, like you can see right back there. Well, there's some dice bags back there. Like. We've got some stuff and we're going to offer these early bird specials, which is really neat too. So hopefully, our super fans can get some stuff by Christmas time, Yeah, we're going to try to have some immediate ships, some ships by a later date because as we're going to get everything manufactured. The thing about Kickstarters is like it's definitely, especially someone who's not a manufacturer like we are, asking for support to upgrade the quality of our videos through the purchase of new equipment like cameras, lighting, film quality lights, possibly even new editing software. Like every dime we make, even beyond the goal and into the stretch goal, is going to be spent 100% on bringing hobby back. So we are trying to get everything set up so that we can have all these things in line, so we're not scrambling if we get an amazing amount of support really early that we didn't anticipate. So we, just want to get you guys ready. It might seem like we're spamming the internets for the next couple of days, but we have to do what we can to alert people to this. You can't wait until the Kickstarter drops to alert people. You have to kind of alert them in that week leading up to it, which is about to happen. So I apologize in advance if every time you look in your Facebook newsfeed you see a Long War Kickstarter coming soon link. But please bear with me and click on that link in 7 days. So I had to convince these guys about doing some X-Wing swag because haters gonna hate. And, I'm all about some X-Wing, some Armada. Unfortunately, we're not going to have a whole lot of Armada swag because it's a little too fresh, but that's okay. So we're going to have some X-Wing swag. Kenny was right. did lock down a deal with GameMad.eu out in Eastern Europe, and we are going to be able to offer some good deals on some game mats, both some 4x6 stuff and some 3x3 for all you X-Wing fans out there. So we're going to have some package deals. Not really able to offer those like by themselves, just because.
Yeah, but they're going to be in a bundle, so we're going to be able to come up with bundles that are like the hobbyist complete game package, like where you'll get your mat, you'll get your shirt, you'll get your dice, you'll get your templates, you'll get your objective markers, and you'll get some stickers and other swag, right? That will unlock as the Kickstarter goes. But it'll be like this is like right here, everything but the models to play Warhammer 40K.
Right. It's basically everything to do this game, everything to do 40K, get a mat, all the templates, all the swag, T-shirts. Same deal with X-Wing. And we've also partnered with Green Man Designs for template stuff. Now he's a little jammed up right now with a bunch of his Kickstarter stuff that he did, but we're projecting that for early 2015, mid Q1, Q2. So
yeah, we're definitely trying to have stuff out ASAP.
Right.
But how it is on Kickstarter. Like you have 30 days of a Kickstarter, then you don't get your money for another 30 days, and then you can start producing. So like. You're talking 60 days if you donated to me on day one before I even got the money. So that's the one drawback of Kickstarter. But like it definitely seems that people are into the support because it is a community-based crowdfunding more than anything else. It's not like just a crowd; it's a community that is a crowd, and that is why we're going with it. Because we do need like we say it all the time, we don't do it for money. It takes money to do this. We need to raise money so that we can get these videos like. The longwar.net, the membership page, all that stuff, like we use 99% of that money right now to pay our server bills and to keep the videos going, with what we have now. So
that doesn't have to come out of our own pocket.
Yep.
Well, which is nice.
It has been a journey, and it has been amazing because the community that we're a part of right now has been growing. Like the Long War is not just a company that is committed to the goal of bringing hobby back. We're part of a community, and whether the community is you enjoying our content for free on YouTube or you on the Hall of Veterans enjoying all of our stuff early with exclusive access, you're still part of the same community, which is dedicated to bringing hobby back. And that is what we're trying to bring to the table by increasing the quality and the projection value of all of our work. So that way we can all kind of work together and push through 2016 and offer the solutions to the game to fix it.
Yeah, and it's really it's a great place to be. We're going to start seeing some more different folks on the Long War that we help kind of draw attention to and promote. We got some stuff in the works there too. Over on Spikey Bits, I try to feature a lot of new artists, new companies, new innovative things. I try to get the word out there and show it and be like, hey, this paint service, or hey, these guys over here are doing this, or hey, look at this cool conversion, or these guys came up with these rules, and it's all for the community at that point, and it's really cool to be part of it. But at the end of the day, we still got to pay our bills.
I have
so. Yeah, yep. So it's all good though. So we got a lot of stuff in the works, and it's very exciting time. There's a lot of different games out there. We got some stuff. I definitely, I don't know if any of y'all went to Spikey Bits today, but I wrote a very, very long article today, 1,200 words in fact. I haven't done that in a while. And first of all, I want to do a couple of shout outs real quick. First, my buddy Josh Dunkerley, Bartosz out in Sweden, and Max Dubois have been helping me out a lot with the blog lately. I couldn't, to free up some of my time to work on some of this other stuff, whereas I can do more articles and things and help more with the Long War and do more development things, that it's kind of where I need to be. And one of the things I did today was I wrote a very long article about the state of the 40K tournament system. There's a lot of stuff going on out there, and there's a lot of tournaments, and tournaments say, hey, you got to do this, or hey, you got to do that. And I don't want to be negative about anything to do with the hobby, and I don't want to sound like I'm coming off like that. But there was a vote. The ITC put up their quarterly vote, and there was a couple of hard-hitting questions on there, and it really got me thinking. And I was like, you know what? Depending on how this vote goes, and first of all, I don't agree with votes. I don't think giving the people the power to vote for things. If you ask me, hey, Rob Bear, do you like cats or dogs? Well, of course I'd like cats. So I'm going to vote for cats, and I want, because that's my personal preference, and that's what I want.
Yeah, well, your thing is, in a voting system like this, we're not talking about the government here. We're not talking about, like, people are going to vote as subjectively as possible for the success of their own game. And they're going to also vote to be more successful in a game that has already been polluted by a tournament structure that promotes what it all costs play. So it is literally a feedback loop of you can't trust anything because everyone wants to win because that's what they've been taught for the last 7 years.
Yeah, and I literally have been screaming this on the blog in articles talking about how 40K in and of itself, if you just, and we've talked about it on here, if you just play 40K with some fundamental FAQs that don't change the rules, just like tweak, just like rules as intended versus rules as written, like maybe some stuff with the Raven Wing Bikers. Like, yes, there needs to be a thing where some of the captains can take, if they take Raven, they got to be able to take
like an FAQ needs a clarify rule. Like,
yes,
the wording of that detachment indicates that other HQs should be available besides Samael. It's very obvious by the wording, so let's clarify this and finish that sentence. That's
correct.
That is the point of an FAQ.
But not fundamental changes to 40K, because if you check out the post, there's a lot of links in there, and I apologize for that because I wanted to. It was basically like I was doing a research video, not that complicated, but I wanted to cite all the things I was saying to previous articles I had written, about the meta and things like that. Because even Juice touched on it. He's like, hey, you know what? If you take 5 Wraith Knights to a tournament, and everything's allowed in that tournament, chances are those 5 Wraith Knights aren't even going to reach the top tables because there's grab and there's other things out there that they keep it all in check. And what keeps what keeps grab stars in check is Super Friends. So it all regular 40K taken battle forged, taken with no preservatives added, and just some slight clarifications to the rules, FAQ-wise, I feel is a rock, paper, scissors format, which is where the game needs to be.
Well, I mean, but there's more to it. That's actually what people are sad about is that traditionally in 40K, it's been a paper, scissors, rock format, but there's been like 6 types of rocks.
Right.
And 6 types of scissors, you know what I mean? Like right now, because of the structure of tournaments, there's literally 1 rock, 1 scissor, and 1 paper. So you go in there and you see the same 3 lists now. We're back to that. And that has no, and so like even if we do what you suggest, even if we said we're going to play it pure, unpreservatives added, and we're going to go to, let's say, Nova, we're going to go to LVO, we're going to play in their format, the way they structure their tournament and everything, but we're going to not play with these restrictions, you're still going to get a feel-bad experience from the fact that every rock you played was an invisible Death Star, and every paper you played was a whatever. You know what I mean? You're like, wow, I literally just played the same 3 armies all weekend. That's still a problem.
But that's where hobby scores come into play.
Yes.
The old hobby score system, and I know Kenny has a lot to say about that. I have too.
Just listen to our last podcast. We did a big rant about it. But that is the solution. We have a solution. We're not just sitting here talking about it like, hey, what would be good is if you did this, this, and this. You know what? Like anyone can say that online. It doesn't matter. You can step up and do anything about it. You're not offering a solution. You actually have to offer a solution, or link up with people and try to work. Because if you just hit people with negativity, no one's going to listen to you. And that's the big problem with like the current negativity. Anybody who has a problem with the way the ITC is being run is not offering a solution. They're literally just hating on it, and then they're still going to go there. So earlier we said voting. We shouldn't do voting, right? Well, there is a type of voting that you should do, which is voting with your money. That's always been the most powerful way to vote in our country. You don't give a game system or a tournament structure your money, because if you do, you're voting for it. So you need to start going to the places that are supporting the game the way you want to, so you can vote with your dollars to them, and they take your votes and directly turn that into profit, so they can continue, keeping it real, like keeping the hobby alive, aka Adepticon.
Mm-hmm.
That is who we have thrown our cards on. We threw our chips in with Adepticon this year because Adepticon is always had hobby scores. They've always had, painting scores and sportsmanship scores. They have always used their own FAQ, and they're all about bringing hobby back. They don't promote on social media, 365 days a year. They're the biggest wargaming convention in the world simply because they are the best. And
14 years strong.
I want to be a part of that, and the Long War is a part of that officially.
Yep. And I just got off the phone about an hour ago with Hank Edley from Adepticon, and we tentatively will be running an event there. We just got to iron out a few details, and it's going to be hobby centric, of course. We don't even need a trip about that. But
I promise you, no less than 50% of your overall score will be
yes.
based on the hobby, because it's preposterous to me that the hobby that we all spend all this time on isn't being rewarded. Like, obviously, more than half of what I do is the hobby.
Yeah, more than half.
More than half.
That is so. Like, if you can say, like, well, I spend 50 hours a week in 40K. Well, I promise you this much. If you break that down to 10 hours in a 5-day work week, you're not playing the game for 5 hours. You are literally hobbying for 8 hours and playing for 2 hours. Why is it the exact opposite when you go to a tournament?
Correct. And yeah, that is a well put statement. And we're going to just say we're going to reward it 50-50. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guarantee that's the only thing that is a factor right now. And the other thing that is a fact is it will be a team tournament in some way, because there's a social element of the game that we need to remind people it still exists. There's a reason that we play this game and not Halo.
Yes, and there's a reason why we don't just, whenever I come home, I'm like, man, I'm just going to sit on the couch, or I'm going to kill some terrorists on Call of Duty. Like, that is just one aspect of it. When I play 40K, I'm playing because I don't want to talk junk and squat on my opponent via the video game. Like, I want to sit there and, like, have a conversation and hang out and, see facial expressions and get super pumped when he does something epic, and vice versa, And there is nothing better than playing a team 40K event. If you haven't done it, get 4 people in the room and play a team event.
Yep.
At your house.
They're lying. Juice and I had a great experience, just real quick, at Rob's old store at FTW up in Richmond. They ran a doubles event, and Juice and I, like, hey, let's go run this doubles event. And I think Juice had told me, like, the state of the 40K was so bad at that time, he just hadn't even had a good team experience yet.
Mm-hmm.
And we just said, hey, you know what? Let's bust out some Blood Angels and let's go and play this thing. And let's bring out Ball Predators. Let's bring out Corbulos and Mephistons and Terminators and Razorbacks and Storm Ravens. We did it all.
And don't mean to interrupt. We're talking about everything he just said. This isn't when Corbolo, Ball Predators, all this stuff was good. We're talking about.
I know, because I was doing it at the table. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Like, this is OG. You know what I mean? Like, it was, and we had a blast, and we were able to bring hobby back with our opponents, and we won the tournament on top of everything. So it was amazing. But everyone we play had fun because of the epic moments. And that's kind of what led us to, like, these types of dialogues where it's like, man, you know what? We need to take that fun we had that day, and we need to share that with as many people as possible. And then here we are, fast forward a couple years later, literally a professional video production company dedicated to giving out free content to that goal.
Truth.
Yep.
And the last thing that I'll say about whenever, for anybody at home that doesn't think that you should look at trying to fix the game with comp scores, and excuse me, I take that back, not comp scores, but sportsmanship scores and stuff like that with your army base and things. If all you do is restrict the meta to saying this isn't allowed, this is allowed, all you're going to do is push the next cream of the crop, whatever's the most
you're just
broken.
You're just going to keep chasing your tail around and around and around and around, and that's what happened with 6th edition, and that's why it got so bananas so quick, and you just had to throw it away. And thankfully, GW was there, Johnny on the spot, to fix it.
Yeah, and it's another great thing is, like, this isn't chess, this isn't checkers. All pieces are not created equal.
No.
So the only thing is, whenever you're saying that all rooks move 3 up and 1 to the right, well, if all of my rooks and your rooks were created equal, then it would all be good. But guess what? Yours are super badass when they move 3 up and 1 to the right. Mine suck. So we can't play under that same, like.
That's a really interesting point you make there about all that. I had a conversation with Greg Steiner, Hobbytown USA. You've seen him on here in Fayetteville today about my article, and then I was like, look, we play a 3-dimensional board game with toy soldiers on a table that's 4x6. Like, we have no laser pinpoint accuracy and things like that. And, there isn't any of that. Like, you have a social contract with the person you're playing that, hey, let's measure this first. Let's make sure we're in range. Pre-measuring is the thing. It's all about respectability and respecting your fellow man. Like, it's not, oh, hey, you forgot to do that, or hey this, or hey that. Like,
every
dude.
time a game of Warhammer 40K happens, and you watch somebody forget that they had a feel no pain save and not take it, and you didn't remind them, is a product of your environment. Like,
yep.
It's because you've learned. Cause I guarantee you didn't always do that. I guarantee there was a time back in the day that you would have been like, hey, dog, don't forget you feel no pain. But now you sit there and quiet. It's in quiet silence because you want to win so bad. And actually, Ash Hill, I can only read the first part of his question, which is TOs are going to have to get a lot more involved. Well, that's a great point, because the thing right now is when I talk about voting with your money and everything is, don't forget that tournament organizers all have an agenda too, just like politicians. And you have to vote for the one that their agenda lines up with yours the most. No one here has an evil plan. If it's like, no one here in our community, like politicians, has an evil agenda. Like, ITC is not evil. Adepticon's not evil. No one is evil. Everyone, though, is trying to play it their way. The thing is that they're not being objective enough. They're being a little too subjective. We want you to play the game our way too, but our way is an objective observation that we've been making for years, not a subjective, motivation to see the game be played a certain way so that the armies that we like want to win.
Yeah, and I first of all, I want to shout out to Reese, because, first of all, as a business person, I admire Reese, what he's done with the ITC and things like that. And I know, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, you gotta fill those tables, dog. Like, it is incredibly expensive to run these conventions. You have no idea. And there's only one person out there that gets their space for free, and I'm not even gonna touch on that. But besides that, Reese does it right. He runs a great event. Where the disconnect is, I think, is I feel like we should not be voting for how to play 40K every quarter. And
it's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. So, like, yes, I agree. It's tough whenever you're always changing other rules, but also this is an ever-changing thing with new stuff coming out and whatever. So it's a double-edged sword. Since you've already established that you're going to go down this path, now this is kind of the couple of things. It sounds good. It's like, it's one of those things you talk about in your local game group. I know everybody has them out there. They sit around on their local night. They're like, oh, I could fix 40K. I could easily fix 40K by, all we got to do is just vote for stuff. And then everybody's like, oh, yeah, that's a great idea, great idea. Then all of a sudden it's like, well, you have to vote this. And then you always have to give your input and make sure that the same people vote on this night. And all this, and the logistics come in behind it. I'm not saying that I am opposed to it, or that I'm for it. It's just, I'm just saying the logistics behind everything is a whole lot tougher than what it appears.
You make a good point on that point. So I'm not saying that you cannot fix 40K with a vote system. You definitely could. But here's the thing. There's a way fucking simpler way to fix it. Like,
hobby scores.
Everyone hits us up with like, oh, missions can do it. Oh, this can do it. Oh, if you did this, it's like, dog. Oh, if you ban this and this, and that's to say, like, we're saying, to be clear, no ban lists. Like, composition scores are not a ban list. Sportsmanship scores are not a political competition to garner the most fake love amongst your opponents there. We're saying true traditional hobby scores that we're going to do some tweaking on. That's what we've been putting a lot of our thought process into. And there's a very simple way to fix it. All the missions have already been written that are amazing. Like, all that stuff's already been done. All the terrain exists. The simple answer to this is to just change the parameters of victory. Like, it's not 100% based on your tabletop performance. It's only 50% based on your tabletop performance and 50% based on your personality, your ability to interact with people, your ability to hold yourself to a higher standard.
To be a human.
Your ability to be a human. Like, I would just go play Call of Duty if I didn't want human interaction. And when you build a system that rewards you for not being a human, we have proven for thousands of years in human history that people will always fail you. People will always not be.
They'll always try to exploit the system based on the rules you provide, and that's just human nature.
I would like to say two things. First, Ken, I never even thought about at that point. Like, To think the game has been through 7 editions. There is some of the brightest minds probably in the country that play 40K, I have to admit. I have met everything from, colonels to majors to scientists, everything else that play this game. To think that there isn't some hidden mission that has already been come up with by the great minds of this game to fix it, you think it hasn't already been thought of? You don't think that some of the greatest builders and terrain builders that we have, that it hasn't already been created 10 times over? No, but what is the one thing that isn't changing? Comp score or a sportsmanship score, a score that is brought in to bring away some of this cheese. That is the only variable that hasn't changed. Yeah, if you that's the only variable that hasn't changed.
Juice did a segment on his hobby pipe dream where he said, my hobby pipe dream is to live in a world where playing 9 Ravengers will not only be a way to win, but I have a realistic chance of winning. You know what I mean? And so the thing is, the only reason that Juice plays 5 Flying Hive Tyrants is because the tournaments made him. He was happy just playing 2 of them, which he always did, and playing some Exocreens and playing some Turbo Gods. And then he went to 3, and then he went to 4, and then he went to 5 because they kept taking scores out, doing this, win loss.
And lastly, I went to 6. I had 2 weeks with 6 Flying Hive Tyrants.
Because Juice isn't going to go to a tournament and lose on purpose, and that's what we're saying is a human will always play the rules of the event to its maximum potential. But if in the rules of the event you said half of your overall score is based on how you interacted with your opponent, how shitty or good your list is, if you're playing an Invisible Death Star and you have a player policed comp score that's a 3-point system that is going to be averaged amongst all the people you played that weekend, and your algorithm, and everyone's like, people can abuse it. It's like, dog, I got a computer. I can see who's abusing it. I'm there. Don't hit me with that crap. That's an old tired ass analogy that people will abuse everything. That's the point of the statement. It is our job as tournament organizers to police our system. So we will use computer software, we'll use algorithms, we'll average these scores, we'll find the guy who always gives a 0 out, drop that, turn it back to the average. We'll do the same thing with sportsmanship scores. We'll do these things. We'll have an objective painting rubric that anybody who puts a minimum effort into will max out, and it will have a side painting score. We'll do all these things. That will be 50% of your score. So if you're going to go to a tournament with 6 Hive Tyrants and win all 5 of your games in a row, you literally 5-0, right? But you got 6th place, and you did that all year. Why would you keep bringing the 6 Hive Tyrants?
Yep.
You wouldn't. That's insane. You would stop. You would bring your 9 Ravengers. Because you can win. You can still win 4 of your games, or even more, because everyone else has dumbed down their lists, and now you can win because you're not making enemies on the table. I mean, if you're so amazing at the game that you can play somebody with Invisible Death Star in this system and have them not 0 you on comp, then that's power to you. But you're not. It's not possible.
Ken has stories about the hobby scores out there in Colorado when he was out. Him and his brother were out there. I ran it here in Fayetteville recently at Hobbytown, and what I found was out of a 15-player tournament, there was the top 10 were separated by only a margin of 10 points. And I had never seen that before. I've been running tournaments for years, and that was really interesting to see. How the hobby scores and the sportsmanship scores really figured in there.
Yep. But also, don't get it twisted. We are still trying to ram our version of 40K down your throat. We are. I'm not going to pretend that we're not, but I promise you that our version of 40K is actually the most objective version of 40K, for the community. It's not subjective, and we have no hidden agendas. We're just trying to help.
Without a doubt. Man, I can't even believe there's only 15 minutes left in the show. Where in the hell did the last 45 minutes go? I'm going to do a quick rundown for everybody who has checked in. Matt B checking in. Hey, guys. Evening to all. First time logging in. Long time listener. Thanks. But he is also a fan of Buggin' Rob on Facebook.
I think I know Matt. He's here in Carolina.
Oh, I've seen him on there.
Absolutely. So Ash Hill checking in. He's saying it's been over a month, but he's getting married Halloween and has started receiving gifts. First off, congratulations, brother. 100%. Awesome.
No doubt.
And whatnot this weekend from folks who aren't coming to the wedding. First wedding gift received, obviously, you guessed it right, 40K shit. I had to explain to the bride to be what an Aquila stronghold is. Strong point.
You actually had to explain to her what miniatures were because you'd been hiding it, and that's how you got it to marry you, right?
Yep. Oh man, there's a 30% chance that you might not be getting married on Halloween, dog. Like,
just put it this way: don't start building that model before you get married.
Yep, there it is. Clay Cruz. Before I even read what you got to say, Clays, I know you've got to be pumped, homie, for all the new Tau stuff that's coming out, all these new suits. I can't wait to check you out soon and see what you got coming up with it. So he's saying, does it have a rule to increase its cover save to +2 by seeing all? He must be talking about the ghost.
Kill. The ghost kill.
Yeah, the ghost kill, guys. Can it improve? All it says in the rule is that it specifically can't go anything over stealth or shroud. Excuse me.
So shroud is +2 to its cover save, and that's it's very easy to get to a 2 cover save if you're smart. Yeah.
So here we go. Good point, Rob. Curious to see how ITC rules on the chapter tactics. Space Marine chapter tactics that don't have hashtag or quotations chapter tactics like Space Marines and Space Wolves. Or excuse me, like Space Wolves and Grey Knights.
And for anyone who doesn't know, that's basically what had us so hot tonight. That's the question that we're talking about. Is they're trying to assign all Space Marines that don't have the chapter tactic special rule, so they would no longer be able to benefit from each other's special abilities. You wouldn't be able to get the hit and run. You wouldn't be able to get the stealth or the rerolls here. You wouldn't be able to get like counterattack. They're trying to you can go on there and you can log in and you can see what they're doing. But that's what got us hot tonight.
Yeah, ultimately, what Kenny's saying is like Super Friends would not exist. You could
and then they're voting. And they're voting to allow 3 storm surges.
Yeah.
Creatures. Like, do you want that? Do you want that world? I don't want that world.
I want to be able.
I don't know. I don't necessarily know if I care about if that world is there because the rules necessarily aren't out for a storm surge. We don't know what the rest of the town look like.
We've moved past it as solution makers. We moved past it. 3 storm surges literally doesn't matter in our bringing hobby back social event that we're running at DevCon. Bring 20 storm surges. It doesn't matter. You're gonna lose every tournament. It doesn't matter. You cannot
bring 20 storm surges.
Like it literally doesn't matter. Like I'll let anyone bring 20 that they want. Like you're gonna lose the tournament. Like
Kenny, how many storm surges can you bring?
You can bring 100.
It doesn't matter how many storm surges you can bring. You're not gonna win. Sal is saying Juice getting real with his hate for the Tau. Look, I have no hate for the Tau. I can't stand them.
Psych. I'm just kidding. I literally hate them. I don't hate the Tau, but I literally hate the Tau.
You. Why are you whispering?
Yeah, exactly. Sal, I'm just talking to you. Nobody else can hear me. I hate the Tau. No, I actually don't hate them. They're a cool army, and I'm glad that they're in the game because they eliminate armies that I don't want to deal with. It's just I still don't want to deal with them.
Everyone's like, it's like we want to get back to the old days. Like back in the old days of 40K, when you walked into the room, we always talk about you had that magic in the air. And remember this? Like Juice is a Tyranid player. I'm a Chaos player. You know what I mean? So like, but like now because of this need to win, people just play whatever. There's like no more loyalty. You know?
No, I mean, I can't tell you how many tournaments I've been to, and it's like, yo, cool, man, I love your army, and your opponent's like, oh, well, these models are mine. These models are this buddies, this buddies, this buddies, this buddies.
Yeah.
You know, I casted these. I just got these. You know,
yeah. We need to go back to the days where people had pride. Like I'm a Greenskin or I'm a Chaos Nurgle for life. I'm Ironware. We need to get back to those days, and that is what our hidden agenda is. Getting back to the magic days, man.
And just to make sure we cover all bases. Anybody who does that, I'm not even going to say I haven't. I'm not going to say I have. I'm not hating on you. That's what 40K has been. We all go to, if all cards are level and we all go to a tournament and I'm spending money to fly, drive, whatever I got to do, row a boat to get Adepticon, then you want to know what? I'm going to do whatever I have to win, have fun, whatever that is that I'm trying to go for that weekend. So I'm not hating on anybody who brings the most broken OP tournament-winning Aaron Alon. He beasted everybody down this year at Nova. I'm not hating on his list. You know, obviously he had a great list. Obviously he gamed the meta to the max.
And don't get it twisted. He's won it before.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like, so we aren't bashing on anybody who does that, who brings a million Riptides or Storm Surges. Like, obviously, at one point in time, like, we just talked about how I will bring 6 Flying Hive Tyrants, because if I do go to a tournament that I want to win, I'm gonna put myself
I'm not
in
gonna
that
spend
situation.
10 hours of my day not trying to win, man. Like,
No.
and if right now the only way to win is to win at all costs, that's what you have to do.
That's what I'm going to do,
Like,
yeah. But what we're trying to say is to make sure everybody at home and all, my trolls out there, all you trolls out there who are trying to, like, going to call us on it later, like, oh, you guys are win at all cost players. Yeah, we're 40K players. And for the last umpteen years with it, here recently, that's what it's been. What we're trying to say here is that we're trying to break through the wall, push through the plateau of win at all costs, and try to bring that hobby back. Try to bring and push through and say, hey, look, this will not win you this tournament. You cannot bring 6 Flying Hive Tyrants, or you cannot bring.
Yeah, we're never gonna have a ban list. You can do whatever you want, but since the hobby element will be there, you can choose your own level of commitment out to the hobby. Like, you can say that, like, I'm here to get best general, and people used to do that. People were there to get best general. Best general was just the guy who won all his games, and he was like 8th place. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the guy who won the tournament had a loss and a tie, and he got perfect sportsmanship score, perfect composition score, perfect painting score, and maxed out as many games as he could. Like, we're trying to get back to those days. The true Renaissance champion. Don't turn it into this second place fake award. It is the true winner. The true winner of the event is the guy who has the best score in all categories.
Perfect. Oh, man. And we still have time. Lamont, he is bringing up a perfect question, because Lamont is somebody who's already admitted that he doesn't necessarily play in a lot of tournaments. He doesn't get that much action. So whenever he does chime in and want to know something, it's coming from the heart and there's no bias. So I absolutely love his question right now. You guys say hobby scores are the way to balance, but what exactly does that mean? I am not a tournament player and honestly not a good painter, and to pay someone, and too poor to pay somebody to do painting quality, would give me points. So he's saying, what does that mean for him? So do you think?
So basically, back in the day, you didn't even have a name for it. It was just a tournament had scores. Then later, it went to win-loss, and they started calling it soft scores. Soft scores, in today's world, mean sportsmanship scores and painting scores. Well, before that, we also had composition scores, which was player policed. It's a subjective score voted by your opponents, and so is sportsman score, where the painting score was objectively voted by the judges. So we're talking about bringing in a painting score, bringing in a player police composition score, and bringing in a sportsmanship score. Don't worry about the details. That's what we're here to worry about. We're worried about making it as fair as possible. But the thing you need to worry about is the more abusive your list, probably the worse your composition score is going to be, because your opponent's not going to be happy. The more abusive your list, probably the worse your sportsmanship score is, because your opponent's not going to be happy. The more douchey you are, the worse your sportsmanship score, and the more of a real human you are, the better your sportsmanship score. Now, the painting score, which would be an objective, would have a rubric that would be published that you can look at, and it would have simple things like, did you dry brush, did you highlight, or did you airbrush? One of these yes, you can check down the list. It's designed so that as long as you put effort in, you will get a good score. As long as you sat down, got your models painted, utilized some of these techniques that, turns out there's a whole channel dedicated to helping you learn how to paint better. Check out thelongword.net, sign up for free. But as long as you, it's not about who's the best painter. People have hit me with but you paint people's armies, they're always going to win. No, they're going to get the same score as anyone who's tried. There's no super score. There's no, is your army painted? Is it painted well? Is it painted with these techniques? You know what I mean? And then we'll have a side score for best painted that has nothing to do with the tournament. But this is what it means to be a true hobbyist. In that rubric will be things like, did he convert his guys? Are they in dynamic poses? Did he use a guy with 2 pistols instead of this? All the little things you do anyway, you're going to be rewarded for it, so not punished for it.
Yeah, Lamont. So obviously you're not going to get those. You're not going to go to the tournament saying, I'm going to get best painted. You know what you're going to do? You're going to come to the tournament. You're going to have 3 colors. You're going to obviously show that you care and you got basing. And you're going to get max paint points. Because that is part of the tournament. That's part of the hobby. Then you're going to go to your score. You can bring a mediocre list. You can do all this, and guess what? This is also another. We are trying to honor the social contract. We talk about it all the time. Guess what? If you're that guy who's got a leaning dice and is always re-rolls it because of this, when it favors you, then that's probably going to piss your opponent off. but he might not want to come out and be like, hey man, why do you always do that? So you guys get into an argument, but if you're that kind of player, your sportsmanship's going to reflect that. You know, if you're the type of guy that wants to pre-measure your measure your models from the front to back and get away with all these little nuances and stuff, and all of a sudden it's like, well, you know, that's going to catch up with you. You are coming to this tournament to have the full experience, not just to play the best list in the country. You want to have the full experience. Whoever can give that to your opponent the most and still potentially win games and still play 40K is going to be the tournament winner.
The gentleman's aspect of the game. Chess. I'm so glad you talked about that earlier. Chess used to be a rehearsal in like gentleman's tactics. Like if you knew all the moves, like all the techniques, like like it was like when you laid out a trap, it was your opponent's job to fall for it and then try to fight his way out of it. Like those were that's like the foundation. Like it's a gentleman's sport. You know what I mean? Like it's not about abusing a system, and that's what we're trying to get back to, because we talked about it. You can't trust people. You can't trust me not to play 5 or 8 nights. You can't trust you not to play 6 or 8 nights or 6 nights. Like you can't trust anyone.
and to be honest, like last thing before we before I hit a couple more questions is think about it. When GW was at its pinnacle, when tournaments were the best, guess what? We had this structure, and then we had no holds barred our boys, where your shit didn't have to be painted, where you brought the most beat stick of everything else, and everybody loved that aspect. So we've had, we talk about sometimes, well, I don't like it because you think to yourself, well, what list am I going to bring to this tournament? Because this tournament is different than that tournament than this tournament. Well, it's always kind of been like that. We've had delineation between, an 1850 grand tournament that is this versus our boys that is this.
Versus a 1750 sideboard tournament.
Yeah, exactly. So it's always been there. So what we're saying is that if you want to go and you are the type of player that wants to be the most beat stick, win at all costs, whatever, hey, I'm not going to hate you because I've been there. Just look for those tournaments that do this. But if you are and you want to be the true gamer, the true hobbyist, the true everything, and come to the tournament and try it this way, it is just a different way of playing.
Tickets will be going on sale to Adepticon whenever they go on sale. But
I think it's this first or second week in November.
First or second week in November, and do not forget to sign up for the Long War Social. That's going to be our tournament, our Bring in Hobby Back tournament. We're also, and I'll leave you guys with this, we're going to do a secondary Kickstarter leading up to Adepticon, where we're going to be offering swag, bags, and gift prizes for people who want to come to the meet and greet at Adepticon at our suite. We're going to be raising money to bring our camera equipment and our lighting and shit out there so we can film some stuff. Also, we're going to be running this event, but we're also going to try to pay for a cool little meet and greet, have some official beverages of the Long War out there, and let people have an opportunity to pick up their gift bags. That's going to be 2 things that you're going to be able to look forward to. We're offering solutions, I promise you that.
Yeah, and even if, it's like we say, even if you don't know anybody and you don't want to go to these events because you don't know anybody, you know us, so come and hang out. We will hang out with you till 3 a.m. at B-Dubs. It's cool.
Yeah, always.
You will definitely at some point in the time be a part of the club of you can never repeat anything.
What you hear. You can't repeat anything you hear from now on.
Yep. So if you don't know anybody else, or even if you do, come hang out with us, and you're going to have a blast, and you're going to have stories that you can potentially think about telling people, but you can never tell them.
We say dumb shit when we're drunk. We do dumb shit when we're drunk.
We like to have fun. We like to have fun. People like to be around us because we do like to have fun. That's why that is that social aspect. Think about it. Lastly, think about all the people in 40K. You got to know them out there. They just don't seem like they're having fun. But guess what? They show up every Sunday cussing and mad and hate the game, and they still show up and play. Like, why? Like, don't do that. Be fun. Make people around you have fun, man. Like, this is a social sport, because it's a sport. John Spratt checking in. What's up, guys? Just wanted to say hey.
They got a quick shout out before we get out of here. I would love to see some of these people. Sorry, not to interrupt your shout out.
You're good. From an Apache helicopter hangar in Virginia. Man, that is
that is the coolest.
First of all, mad props, Fort Eustis. My area code's still 757, and I graduated from the high school at the other end of Fort Eustis Boulevard, York High, many years ago.
What year would have been that graduation day, Rob?
1941.
I want to go with 1987.
It was more than 10 years ago.
Was it more than 10 years ago, less than 100 years ago?
We'll go with that.
Love it. Jugger G checking in. What's happening, dog? So we also got Clay Cruz is saying the changes. Well, regardless of the changes, the Tau probably going to lose a lot in the tournament in Atlanta in November. Clay Cruz is coming to the Warzone Atlanta. That's
Atlanta.
We definitely need to talk about that.
Let me shout it out real quick. Check out the Warzone Atlanta's website. Use promotion code CLUTCH on their website to get a redeemable drink card, and it is even good for you if you're not 21 because you can get a Coke.
And you get it delivered at your table.
Bring it right to your table.
Church. So that is phenomenal. And to be honest, I hope to be there, but I'm going to be on a cruise. So as long as my cruise for some reason doesn't go through because hurricane season, there is that. So Sal's saying, "Oh, we got to hit Lamont's question." Yes, we definitely did. Stoner Steve, blood,
Stoner Steve,
the blood god.
What's up?
Yo, I was sitting there. I was like, "Why did Stoner Steve just randomly, arbitrarily throw some letters together?" I was like, "BT." Oh, got it now.
Yep, that's it. That's me. Me and Stoner Steve secretly have been trying to bring Blood for the Blood Guy back as a saying that extends beyond 40K.
Love it.
So
BTGB,
hey, check it out. Maybe one of these stretch goal T-shirts on the Long War Kickstarter is going to be a Blood for the Blood Guy shirt.
Now trending on Twitter. BTBG hashtag.
BG. I feel like that's already a commercial. Well, guys.
That it?
I feel like that is
I think we have an incredibly compelling podcast to record that's going to be full of incredibly passionate talking.
I've had a lot to say tonight. Oh boy! All right, well I guess that you heard it here first. That's the end of the show. We went a little over, but we had lots to say tonight about a lot.
And we're sorry that we didn't have time to do as much Q&A. It's just that when thing gets as hot, it's really hard to do Q&A. We're so excited.
I haven't been this excited since I discovered Taylor Swift. So anyhow,
back when you were in high school, right?
Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah, it's tough being me sometimes. All right, guys. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you head on over to thelongwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports for exclusive content and early access videos. And Taylor Swift, become a veteran of the Long War today. Good night, everybody. Taylor Swift really isn't there.